We'll call the meeting in order. We ask Mr. Coward to give a presentation, lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, as we come to you, we're so thankful for the blessings that you bestow upon us. Lord, we know that we've had a very successful weekend that helps our students throughout the county, and we're just so thankful for that blessing that you bestow upon us. And we're thankful for people that are willing to step up and work hard for our children. Lord, as we come to you, we also lift up those in the panhandle, those that have been devastated, and we know that there's school systems that are coming back online this week, and those that will be a little bit farther out. We pray for those that are out there that are trying to get a sense of normalcy back for our children, and being able to get back and continue their education. We pray for safety for them also. Lord, we ask for guidance and wisdom as we deliberate and make decisions that affect our children and our staff, and so thank you. And all the things we do, in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Coward.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any additional corrections to the agenda?
First page, Adriana Perez, her start date is October 16th.
With the corrections, all right, entertain the motion.
Second.
We move to second, we adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. We'd like to welcome any visitors. Any public comment? This will be time for you to come forward. Seeing none, I like the new setup in the back.
It's just an FYI, we're going to be doing some things to try to use this as a board room twice a month. But we're going to try to do some things to make this a better work for the other 28 days.
I thought we just had a lot of Baptists in
I like it.
Okay, we have no visitors or public comment. We move on to item F, and we're happy to have Mr. Donald Lewis here with us this morning from Lee County Coalition.
And I think most everybody here knows Jonathan. He's certainly a friend of the school of Lee County. And I just don't believe everybody knows how good of a friend he is. And so that's one of the things about some great things he does.
Thank you for having me today. I have somewhat neglected to really share updates with the school board as we've gone along. No one's fault but my own. I've just been busy, but I did want to take a little bit of time and share kind of where we're at, what we do, and where we're headed, and just kind of update you guys on what we do in the school district. First, I'll share with you, yesterday I was here for the accreditation interview, and Ms. Vicky King asked me about the cake that we bought from Beasley's, and so I figured I would share with you my cake experience. As I was leaving my office Saturday night, I tripped and fell, and that's my cake. So, at least I made it here today in one piece. I did still eat a little bit of it, but somehow the lid managed to come off, and it was all over me and the ground and everywhere else.
Well, we've got our cake that we bought there, so we'll share some with you.
Nobody got any pictures? The video?
No video. I was the only one there, which is I'm thankful for.
Where was your sack going?
At Williston Elementary, at our office.
At the school?
So,
There's video gone.
But the vision statement of the coalition, our official vision statement, is to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Levy County through collaboration and capacity building among all sectors in order to promote healthy living. And so the coalition, by kind of nature, is intended to bring groups of people together to collaborate and build capacity to better the community basically. A little bit of our history. In 2004, the coalition was first formed as the PIPSA Coalition, which is Partners in Prevention of Substance Abuse. It was formed in response to then Governor Jeb Bush's some of his faith-based initiatives. The primary focus of the coalition from 2004 to about 2010 was mostly community events and healthcare, just general outreach. In 2010-11, we worked to kind of reestablish and change the name to the Levy County Prevention Coalition. Now as a partnership with CDS, Family Behavioral Health Services, formerly Corner Drugstore. We received a small amount of funding at that time, which allowed us to hire our first official staff member. We make decisions for all of the funding that we get, both state and federal grants, contracts, and grants. We use this strategic prevention framework as our model. And so basically, we go through, it's a never-ending cycle. I know y'all know those types of things. We assess our needs. We then build capacity based on those needs, and through building capacity, we then plan, and then we put our plans into implementation. And then after implementation, we evaluate how well they work or didn't work. The thing that I like about the strategic prevention framework, as well as the goal of the coalition, is it is intended to allow local data to drive the decisions and allow local stakeholders to be a part of the decision and really make the ultimate decisions on what we believe our focus needs to be and how we're going to achieve the goals. Our two main goals this time are youth substance abuse prevention and promotion of positive mental health. So those are our two focus areas at this time, and we integrate that into the SPIF model. The last piece is sustainability and cultural competence. Cultural competence really just means that we understand Levy County, which is something only local. We're very unique in many ways, as you all are quite aware. Another item that we really pay close attention to with the coalition is we want to be good stewards of the money that we receive. For the most part, all of our funding is taxpayer dollars, and so we want to make sure that we're a good steward of the money and show appreciation to the taxpayers that give their money. But then we also like to take it a step further and really stretch the dollar as far as we can by kind of a school system focused and student focused stewardship way of thinking. And we like to identify ways that if we're going to apply for this funding or that funding or receiving X or Y, we want to find ways that we can achieve our goal, but also assist the school district and students as much as we can. And I'll give you some examples of that as we go along. For the implementation of our goals, we really focus on kind of two areas: school-based programs and environmental strategies. School-based programs, both areas are evidence-based, whether it's a program or a strategy. They're evaluated at minimum on a yearly basis. School-based programs are more focused on, of course, education, educating kids on the dangers of drugs and skill building, how to say no, how to, get around peer pressure, alternatives. Environmental strategies are kind of more broad, community-focused, and both areas, especially the environmental strategies, focus on reducing risk factors and enhancing protective factors. I'll share as we go along what some of those are. Ultimately, we reduce risk factors and enhance protective factors to decrease substance abuse. one example of some of our school-based programs in conjunction with CDS. We produce a community action plan through the SPIF model that allows us to apply for funding for the Too Good for Drugs and Violence programs and Project Success. As I mentioned in the board meeting or two ago, we did apply for a prevention partnership grant that has allowed us to expand this program, Too Good for Drugs and Violence, to Cedar Key School and Yankeetown School. We did interview some folks last week, and hopefully they'll be starting in a week or two. So we're excited about that. Some of the synergies, if you want to call them that we really focus on stretching those dollars for the school-based programs is we integrate them into the special area schedule. So the school gets basically a free staff member and a free slot on their special area schedule. And of course, we get the best of the deal because we have a guaranteed time that this student will be in the class. We're not having to try to push in here or there and, you know, schedule around all the stuff that goes on. So we get to implement our program with fidelity while the school, of course, gets a extra staff member. When they're not busy doing our program, which is several hours a day, our staff at the different schools help with car duty, bus duty, lunch recess duty. Some of them push into the classrooms to help with small group academics. Basically, as long as they keep the principal happy, we're happy. So they know that while we do pay them, really their boss at the school level is the principal. So if they keep them happy, we're happy. And we do have Project Success at Williston Middle School. It's not on the special area rotation because it's a little bit different, but it is a class that the school refers kids that need extra assistance, both academic and social. We also have Know the Law, which I'll pass these around to you. You can keep this book. It's a curriculum that we work with the Sheriff's Office, and we do push into actually our Too Good for Drugs class for 5th graders. If the school requests it for a different grade, we'll work with them to find a time. But it basically focuses on educating youth about the laws that are applicable to them, all of the laws, but specifically things that might affect youth, such as bullying, cyberbullying, sexting, which is a big thing, and lets them know, X, Y, and Z could happen if you do it. I included one statistic that we do focus on. Max Long usually does the class for us, and according to the data that we have, 21.2% of our students have felt that at some point in their lifetime they've been a victim of cyberbullying. So we do focus on that to try to let people know, it is an issue even though you're behind a computer screen. We also provide basically by request bullying education and prevention. Here's a few statistics on that. 11.9% of students say they've skipped school because of bullying. 10.5% of students say that they have physically bullied others. I'm hoping that the 11.9 are because of the 10.5. I included the last statistic for a couple of reasons. 49.4% say they've been taunted or teased. One thing we do in our bullying education, prevention, and presentation, along with the mental health curriculum, which I'll get to, is we really work to define what bullying is. I think at some point in everyone's life has been teased. Now, certainly, I'm not discounting the fact that unrelenting, malicious teasing is bad. But we also don't want kids to be reporting that they've been taunted or teased when it's really just in a more of a playful, camaraderie type way. So we do focus on that to try to make sure that our data isn't skewed and that kids aren't feeling a victim of bullying when they're really just as part of growing up. The You're Not Alone curriculum is another one that we do by request. It's a mental health curriculum. It focuses on basically just basic mental health principles for youth, such as, just if you're starting to get upset, focus on breathing, just basic things like that, and basic things that they can do to affect their everyday mental health. School and family programs, we work with CDS very closely to have family action counseling. This specifically targets runaway, ungovernable, and truant students. So we have 2 counselors right now, one that serves basically the Williston and sometimes gets out to English Yankeetown if there's a request, and one that serves Bronson and Chiefland. I have been advocating for a 3rd one, and I've been told that we should be able to get a 3rd one if we keep the first 2 that we have completely busy. So if you're at your different schools and you hear the need for family action counseling, a lot of times the counselor will go to the home if required. They will always meet them at the school. They don't have to drive to Gainesville or somewhere like that. And a lot of times it's a true family action counseling. It's not just the student. They talk with the parents and the students and even siblings to try to find out, why are they truant? Why are they running away, or they just simply ungovernable? So they try to really focus on getting to the root of the cause. We have a mentoring program that is supported by both the school district and the Department of Juvenile Justice. It's countywide. We're really trying to work on referrals in the Chiefland area. Cedar Key and Yankeetown are next as soon as we get our folks started down there. We take referrals from people at the district office, schools, teachers, parents, referrals from anywhere. If they want a kid to be part of our mentoring program, we'll get them in there. We utilize CDE students as a way to try to stretch that dollar as well. We train them on mentoring, and then they oftentimes do the mentoring for us during school hours. We have some after-school mentoring that are kind of special events or done by adults, but if it's by a CDE student, generally it's going to be one-on-one. It's generally during the school day. We also have summer mentoring and summer camps. We did one this last year, and we did that in conjunction with the Williston Elementary School reading camp as a way to, again, try to stretch the dollar as far as we can to help our youth. And basically, for kids that were attending summer reading camp, we would allow them, we were open from 7:30 to 5:30, and so students could be dropped off with us, eat breakfast, and watch a cartoon, and then if they could go at 8:15, 8:30 to summer reading camp, and then if they chose to stay, they could stay with us from, I think it was 1 o'clock or 1:30 when reading camp got over, for the rest of the day till 5:30. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, if the school gave us a good report, they were invited to spend the whole day with us, and those were the days that we went on field trips, swimming, different things like that. We did that for the entire month of June, and we took 17 field trips, so we stayed very busy. I found out that actually being on the go was easier, so that's why we suddenly decided to take so many field trips. For getting back to the mentoring program in general, we monitored student academic and behavioral success. We received permission. Part of the enrollment process is that we receive permission to access their Skyward account or work with the school district to get that information, so we know if they're having a particular subject area that they need assistance with, or if there's a behavioral issue that we can address. We also use the PATS curriculum peaceful alternatives to tough situations. It's just a basic curriculum for elementary students that really helps them to develop more social and emotional kind of ways of just coping with life, which a lot of our kids do have a tough time. Some of our environmental strategies, these aren't really necessarily, the first couple aren't necessarily related to school in particular, but they have an effect on our students. The number one abused drug we began to use is alcohol. So part of our assessment process is we determine where they're getting the alcohol. The vast majority, 39, 40, almost 40% of students report that someone gave it to them, followed by 14.3% say they took it from a family, cabinet or something of that sort, and then followed by someone bought it for them, and then they bought it themselves. So we implement the responsible vendor training, which is a free training for all of our alcohol vendors, bars, restaurants, and we bring in a trainer to train them on how to, properly ID and how to spot a fake ID, which isn't necessarily a big issue in Navy County. It's mostly just not checking IDs in Navy County. On the restaurant side, it also goes a little bit farther to work with our adult population on how to cut someone off if they've had too much without making them, angry with you, or how to kind of slow them down, offer them alternatives, different things like that. We offer this 4 times a year in each of the communities. We're working on an online version of it where some of our convenience stores, because of the high rate of turnover, where they can basically drop off a little phone or something, and they can do it at night or when the store's not closed. We provide the business with a certificate that a lot of the business owners have told us that they are able to receive a reduction in their insurance premiums for having their staff trained No One's House is a community strategy that focuses on in-home access to alcohol. A few statistics about alcohol use. By the time a student graduates high school, almost 47% of students say they have drank alcohol at some point in their life. 25.5% have said that at some point they did drink enough to black out. 19.5% say when surveyed that they had drank alcohol in the past 30 days, and 10.6% say that they had binge drank in the past 30 days. So again, it goes back to the data that the source of the alcohol. So we have the No One's House campaign, which focuses on community and parents primarily, and basically No One's House is a safe place for teen drinking. We work with some of the Chiefland to produce some public service announcements. We push them out on Facebook here and there, but this one is one that I'll show you two of them.
Thanks, son. Yeah, he's just a junior. With that skills video we put together, paid off. We've had 2 coaches go.
Man, that is great news.
You might have a shot at some college action. It's awesome. We are stoked. Brandon, since you're a cop, let me ask you a question. We're having this prom after party. Gavin wants me to pick up some beer. It's just a handful of kids. They're all staying the night. I was thinking, I'll just take the keys.
John, as your friend and as a law enforcement officer, that is a horrible idea.
You think?
They're going to make enough stupid decisions on their own. Don't make no stupid decisions for them. Lots of things can go wrong when you mix teens and alcohol, and you'll end up laughing.
Yeah, okay. You got a good point.
Be the parent your team needs you to be, even when it's not popular. No One's House is a safe place for teen drinking.
We call that the prom after party. Here's a little bit more of a lighthearted.
Yeah, they're never satisfied. We were in the mall yesterday and Tabby insisted on getting that other set of shoes.
I know, and no.
It never ends.
Jenny's actually angling for me to buy her beer at the party next weekend.
What?
She's constantly telling me I'm not cool enough, I'm ruining her life. She thinks if there's no booze there, nobody will show me the party. Maybe if I do it, she'll be civil to me.
The party's here at the house, right? What's the worst that can happen?
What is that smell?
World's coolest mom.
Man, what was she thinking?
Nope, not in my house.
Take it from the world's coolest mom. When it comes to providing teens alcohol, no one's house is a place for teen drinking.
Kind of get the point. It primarily just focuses on reinforcing with parents that, you know, even a plan where you think you've covered all of your bases, you never know what might happen when you mix teams around. Some of the below alcohol, marijuana, in order of the most abused drugs by teens, prescription drugs fall somewhere in the 4th, 5th, 6th range. So we, again, go back to the source of these drugs. We know that a lot of our kids do not go to a drug dealer for prescription drugs. They end up finding them in a parent's medicine cabinet or family members' medicine cabinet. So we do prescription drug drop-offs at least once a year in all 5 communities. We actually have one this Saturday where we work with the Sheriff's Office and the DEA to provide an opportunity for anyone to basically drop off confidentially any prescriptions they may have that they don't need or want anymore, and they're disposed of properly. A few statistics about that: 5.2% of youth say by the time they graduated that they have used some type of prescription depressant, so what Xanax, Valium, those types of things. 1.3% have used them in the past 30 days. For prescription pain relievers, which is your opioids primarily, there's 4.3% and 1.7% say they've used them in the past 30 days. The one part of that question that I'm not sure that is real clear is what of that small percentage, what percentage might have been legitimately prescribed for some type of short-term injury. But generally, depressants aren't generally ever prescribed to teenagers. Our Friday Night Done Right strategy, some of you have probably seen this. We've been trying to work on this for quite some time. I'll kind of pass these around a little bit. This year, we have worked with Williston and Chiefland to create football tickets and concession stand vouchers that we can give to administrators to give out to youth as a way to give them some incentives for their positive behavior support system at the school. But we also encourage youth that just come to a football game on their own. If they enter the gate, they can fill out a little card that enters them into a raffle for tickets and concession stand vouchers for a future home game. We've given out probably 200 or so vouchers and tickets in Williston, and we're going to give out probably about 150 in Chiefland. We got a little bit of a late start this year in Chiefland, but we hope to continue that next year, include Bronson as well. I'm actually glad Mr. Asbell isn't here today, because I figured he'd give me a little bit of a hard time about that. But we just tried to roll it out this year in the 2 largest populated areas to see how it went, and it's gone well. It's a positive thing for us because it gets our message out, spend your Friday night the right way without drugs or alcohol. But we do reimburse the school for the face value of the ticket, and we reimburse the concession stand for the $5.50. So it's a way for us to use some of our funds to further support the school sports and whoever's running the concession stand.
Jerry Faulk, like, I know they have some basketball games on Friday nights.
That is something we're gonna work on for sure, is trying to target some of the Friday night games for all of the sports throughout the year. For other sports that are not on Friday nights, we're gonna try to tie that into some of our Natural High campaign, which I'll share a little bit more about that in just a slide or two. Friday Night Done Right basically primarily focuses on enhancing the protective factors, which is, I always like to point this out, the Florida Youth Substance Abuse Survey, which is where we get most of our data from, is a self-reported survey. So this is students answering questions. And I think it's something that our district should be kind of proud of. We're at or above the state average in two protective areas, and that is family rewards for pro-social involvement and school rewards for pro-social involvement. In addition, one I didn't put on here was community rewards for pro-social involvement. All of those areas were at or above the state average by several points. And to me, that's a big deal because it tells me that students know that you care, that they're doing the right thing and doing something positive with their free time. And it also shows that they know our community supports them. I have always said, our community never ceases to amaze me in their giving. It's interesting that even though so many get asked so many times over and over, there's just a continuous giving heart from a lot of our businesses. I included this. This is something new we started this year. And I included this specifically for you, although you may already be aware of diversion programs. I thought I would share this with you so that if a student, a parent ever calls and complains that their kid was arrested because the drug dogs found something on them and they're fussing at you, unless it is their third or fourth offense, there is generally always a diversion option where it basically wipes their record clean for usually always first-time offenders and sometimes even second, third time. We have been working with Bays Healthcare out of the Tampa area. They do the JDAC program, which is Juvenile Justice Diversion. We see a lot of kids, mostly for marijuana possession violations, specifically when they'll bring the drug dogs into the schools. Basically, part of their diversion is to attend a drug education class. We do that for the students for free as a courtesy, so they don't have to go to Alachua or Marion County. I will share with you what I share with most students. Like I said, it's mostly for marijuana possession. I don't waste a whole lot of time trying to convince them that marijuana is super bad or it's going to kill them, because Facebook does a much better job of proving the opposite with all of the different things that are out there. We do make sure that they understand that there's no evidence, scientific evidence whatsoever that marijuana cures cancer. We acknowledge that it does have some therapeutic effects for cancer patients, if used in a very specific manner. But there's no, a lot of these wild, things out there that the kids are told about marijuana. We try to bring them back to earth with some of those realities. However, we mostly focus on the mental health side of things, where, what are some ways that you can monitor and maintain your personal mental health so that you don't feel the need to get high? How do you find your natural high, whether it's, sports, whatever, music, art. So we work with the JDAC program to basically provide the drug education classes for free. And one of our last environmental strategies is the Natural High campaign, and this is something new that we're going to try to roll out. We have a Natural High Club at Williston High School. some natural high stuff at Chiefland. We're getting it planned out in Bronson, and then it'll follow up in Cedar Key and Yankeetown. But basically, it's a campaign that, you know, encourages youth to find their natural high, whether it's sports, music, art, clubs, FFA, you know, whatever it is, it can tie together. And it's basically finding a way to instead of just sitting around letting your mind be idle, find something positive to do. So we like it because it can connect with so many of the pre-existing things that we have. Friday Night and Right, you know, kind of connects, and we can support sports and different things like that. But Natural High can connect with anything, you know, FBLA, FFA, whatever it may be. The Natural High campaign focuses on decreasing a couple of risk factors, family conflict, lack of commitment to school, and early initiation of drug use, and it works to enhance protective factors such as opportunities for pro-social involvement and religiousness, which on both sides, on the protective factors, again, we're above the state average, which is a good thing. The risk factors were at or a little bit below the state average in most of those areas. To better explain the Natural High, I'll show you this quick video if it will play. It explains it a lot better. We hope that once all of our clubs are operating, that we can get all of the students to together to basically make a video of their own, something similar to this. Well, anyway, it's not going to work, but I thought maybe it would get a little bit better reception. But at any rate, it basically is a video that outlines a lot of the various activities that could be included in a youth finding their natural high. So we hope to be able to produce some type of video similar to this with our local students, much like we did with the Nolan's High School. And then lastly, one of the last school board meetings I was at, there was some talk about home rule, and that kind of caught my attention a little bit, and I wanted to share how it even affects us. Again, it goes back to kind of local data and local stakeholders make the best decisions for our local youth. One of the most recent ways that kind of a lack of home rule, you might say, not really, maybe not home rule, but kind of just not a respect of boundaries, you might say, affected us is with the Prevention Partnership Grant. We did receive one, thankfully. There were only 6 in the Northeast region, which covers all the way from Nassau over to Taylor and Madison down to Lake. But there were 6 awards that were given out in our region. We received one, Hernando County Coalition received one, and another group received the other 4. this other group is from West Palm Beach. They also received, statewide, they received, I think, 12. And these people know where Lee County is. Their prevention specialist knows where it's at because they do manage to get here every once in a while. But aside from the fact of just not truly understanding the culture, one of the biggest things is just in all grants, there's a level of administration overhead where that particular dollar amount absolutely goes to nothing but administration. It doesn't help our community, well, it doesn't help our youth. And this is an example of, in each of their applications, they had roughly about $36,500 in administrative overhead, where our application, we were able to get that down to 11,600. So again, it's just, the farther away it is, they don't have to look you guys in the eyes and justify a ridiculously high administrative overhead. And they also are investing in the community where, number one, we have to see the people we work with and we're accountable to you for what we do with the money. But as well, we want to see the money do the most good that we can possibly do. So it's just something that I think if you're interested in learning more, just let me know. But that kind of wraps up my presentation. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
Thank you, John. Any questions?
Jonathan, maybe I missed it, how are you funded?
So we have several federal grants that are competitive. We have a drug-free communities grant that's on a 5-year cycle. We just entered year 6 in October 1st. We had to reapply this past fall. We were one of 156 awards nationwide. So we were very thankful that we received that. We have a Stop Act federal grant that comes in 4-year cycles. That is a competitive renewal each 4 years. We have a Department of Juvenile Justice contract that is prepared every 3 to 6 years through a competitive solicitation. And we have a state federal block grant pass-through dollars through Department of Children and Families and the Northeast Managing Entity Movement Services that we compete for a dollar amount each year, but we're to a certain degree guaranteed a minimum of $30,000 or so, but it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit. Sometimes it can be twice that. And I think that's most of our kind of.
How many staff members do you have now?
So we have probably 8 or 9 full-time people. If you count our CE students, we have 6 CE students at the moment in addition to those staff. We're going to add a couple more in Bronson.
So that's great.
The staff, a lot of times we treat as just a contractor.
You're doing a great job, thank you.
Statistics you were citing for relief from Lee County schools or?
Those are all specific to the Lee County response to the Florida census. I can give you that data if you'd like.
Any other questions?
Appreciate all your hard work.
Jonathan, thank you, because I'm in the community quite a bit, and I see these things, and sometimes I don't know where they come from, because you kind of work quietly a lot of times.
So, thank you.
I just want to reiterate, most people don't understand the level of the asset of the Louisiana School Board. One of the things that I'm particularly excited about is the National High Campaign. Dennis Brothers will be working with us on that. As you know, the kids that you see in here, the kids that do well are involved in plugged into school. And so the more kids that we can get plugged into a greater level, the better off everything else will be. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to working on it. And
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item G, Mr. Lodge. Request for public hearing to adopt and amend the following school board policies.
Good morning.
Board.
We have 5 board policy considerations. We're going to be asking the board permission to advertise these board policy changes. We'll have time to study them, to get public input, and then we'll have to ask for a final vote on these policies in December, the December meeting. As you know, when we bring policies before the board, most of the time it's because of changes in statute, and then we use, DFAC provides us with templates of board policies. We take that and use that as the basis for board policy changes. And again, those came out of new statutes primarily. Out of the 5 that we bring for you today, 4 out of the 5 are in that category with changes in statutes. The first one, which is 3.06 Safe and Secure Schools, came out of Senate Bill 7026, which I'm sure you're familiar with now. We're already in the process of completing most of the requirements that are outlined in that statute. The actual statute is 1006.1493, but it's better known as Senate Bill 7026. And again, we're already in the process of completing a lot of the requirements that are both in the statute and in this sample board policy 3.06. Things like the FSAT requirements. Mr. Weber has already brought a lot of this information to you before. The threat assessment teams, the youth mental health first aid, the active threat drills that we are already conducting in some of our schools. So that policy, as you look through it, we are already in the process of completing many of those items. Any questions on that one?
One, Mr. Lodge, right on the very first page, 1B. Having difficulty, as students who are suspended or dismissed, does that mean expelled?
Yes.
Okay. Or assigned to an alternative setting, is not in good standing, and is not permitted on the school campus or school grounds or school-sponsored activity without first having complied herewith. Explain that last part to me, without having complied with what?
I guess it's the conditions set forth as far as being a safe school. And basically, the way I read it is that when we establish these school safety zones, it's really, we're already complying with that, because when we say you're expelled or you're suspended, you're not allowed at extracurricular activities. This is just restating that same fact. If you're in an alternative setting, if you are have been suspended, then you're not allowed to attend these different functions. You're not allowed to be on any of our school grounds.
Until they have complied with
So
the order of expulsion or
suspension.
suspension or what? Okay.
We can clarify that.
I know,
No, I mean, we can clarify the language, because I agree, it's kind of,
So I think it may, excuse me, it may be, it describes earlier, if you have a business that puts you in that location, a legitimate business, then you might have a right to be in that location.
Who determines that?
I don't know.
That's the, you know, if I'm sitting there, if you've been suspended, you're not gonna come to a football game or whatever else. You know, if I'm the principal in charge, if you've been expelled, you know, I expect, so.
we'll look at that further. We'll, if we can clarify that language, we'll bring it back to the board, the next meeting.
Yeah, just understand, these policies will come to you at every meeting until you adopt the policies.
Yes.
Okay, because our goal is to, when we get to the final meeting, you know, that you've discussed all this stuff, we're not gonna wait till the final meeting to have a discussion on it.
So as you read through them between now and then, anything like that that doesn't make sense, you know, it needs some clarification, if you'll just let us know, then we'll work on some new language to help with that. again, these things come to us in a package. They're already pre-packaged from Effect. They're created by a company run by Jerry Copeland. And his company creates these sample board policies.
Mr. Delaney, what do you recommend on that to clarify that?
That's how I would interpret it. The suggestion that Mr. Masters made is that I think it refers back to the language above about if they're in the school safety zone, so they're 500 feet away, say for instance, as part of being licensed in a commercial business, then they would be in compliance herewith. But we could probably clean it up and come up with some other language. Nothing's come to me yet, but that's how I would recommend that we interpret it.
Okay.
Mr. Rock, I'll just add also, along with your indicated about a lot of things we're already having in place. On 4A, the threat assessment in schools, that's really supported by the FBI, the Public Education, Department of Education at the national level. We already have that training scheduled for our threat assessment teams on January 8th, which is our PD day. Mr. Webb and I have worked really diligently to secure that training, and so our state director for SEDNet and for Safe Schools will be providing that training. So we're not waiting, we're moving forward because we need to have things in place in our school system to ensure the safety of all.
Okay. 3.101 religious expression in public schools. The new legislation for this is 1002.206 of the Florida statutes. When you read that statute, and I have the statute that I pulled. When you read that statute, almost this entire policy mirrors that same statute. And one of the things that I've already expressed to our principals are things that, there'll be some changes in the way that we have to do things if this policy is adopted. Like one of them is on the last page on E, it says we must state in oral or written form that the student's speech does not reflect the endorsement, sponsorship, position, or expression of the school district. That's something that would be a change, probably the way that we've done things in the past, at least in my experience as a principal. I've never had to put a disclaimer in a graduation, program, so to speak, but that's the result of this new legislation. You see that the statute doesn't give you a lot of, maybes. It says we shall do these things. So
you're saying that would put it in a disclaimer in program, a graduation or something?
Any time or any place that a student may speak.
So when we go to graduation, and we'll just say it's valedictorian, does that mean that the principal is not going to be looking over speeches and?
Well, if you read earlier in the policy, I think that it says, D says we must ensure that a student speaker does not engage in obscene, vulgar, offensive, lewd, or indecent speech. So I think that things that are prepared speeches would need to be at least examined by school administration in regard to that clause in the policy.
Gotcha.
Mr. Delaney, do you have any comments on that? This one that you're looking at?
I have read over it. I clearly think that is would be the simplest way to handle this, rather than having somebody announce a disclaimer. That'd be another way to comply with statute and this policy. Tallahassee has, speaking of home rule, has delivered this policy up to us and said that you have to adopt it.
Right.
There are a few portions in here that is what the legislature would like the law to be, and maybe what some other courts have already decided the law is. which could present challenges down the road. I think the simplest thing to do would have 2 lines in the graduation program under the valedictorian speech saying, these are the content, or this is the speeches reflect the students' own views, not those of the district.
Are you talking about religious expression right now?
We're not going to restrict the student to be able to talk about their religious beliefs as part of their valedictorian speech. The policy and the statute protect that, and that's appropriate. But at the same time, we're going to make it clear that the only way that the district is going to approve somebody for a speech is not if it's a religious speech or a non-religious speech. We're going to say that's the student's speech, it's not the district speech.
Okay. Any other questions on that one?
It seems like quite a change in policy on the state level, but now that it sounds like during the school day now, they can in some ways express their religious views, right?
The First Amendment has always been that.
Yeah, but there was quite a bit of emphasis for a long time now. You got secularizing schools and taking religion out of schools. Seems like this is putting it back into schools in prescribed format.
Now, the problem with that, though, is that the other side can do the same thing. If I wear a shirt or something that's got a cross or something on it, then they could turn right around and wear a shirt and then they would try to, et cetera. So it's going both ways. It's covering themselves, in my opinion, only they're covering themselves.
I don't believe there's ever been any limit as far as Union County, and so I think this is, maybe a souped up version, and that would be a nice way of putting it.
Okay. 5.04 requirements for original entry. The one paragraph that's added to that is a result of Senate Bill 7026, which we've already discussed. And again, it's really emphasizing that students have to disclose previous expulsion, arrest, any kind of referral that they may have had to mental health services.
I have a question on this, and this may be a little bit directed towards Dr. Hall, but really all of us. What happens when a student comes to us and a school district drags their feet or just do not provide us that student's records, and then there is a clear need for some type of services to that child? So what do we do with that? Because I feel like that
We have to reach out to that administration. The issue, and I've talked to our counselor in regard to this year, as a matter of fact, many times the issue in obtaining student records, outside of even this, just general educational records, the issue many times lies with private schools, more so than public schools. They'll do things that we would not be allowed to do in the public arena. Withhold records because there may be a bill that has not been paid or so forth, and now we have the kids sitting in our school system that we don't even really know what grade they're supposed to be in. We don't know how to place the student. We are hampered because they have refused to turn over those educational records that are vital for our placement. And the same thing would apply to incidents that in regard to discipline. I know that previously, when I was a principal at Williston, I did have that incident. A student came in from New York. We knew really quickly that there was something bad with this student. We requested public records from New York, and they refused to turn those records over. And that situation did not end in a good way for anybody involved. So it's frustrating. I'm sure that our counselor can elaborate on what I've already said.
on a situation like that, where those records are obviously very, very vital and important to us. What do we?
Our recourse is to ask and try to work with some school to try to make them understand. I don't want to step on Dr. Paul's toes, but we've got a student. Generally, we have a bias in favor of getting the student in school and then in touch with adults, guidance counselors, teachers who understand sort of where they are and where they need to be, rather than having them out of school in some situation that we don't have any contact with, we don't know what's going on. So the student generally benefits from being in school. We try and are persistent to try to get the records as fast as we can, and we probably have the student do an assessment and see where things are.
Exactly. I'm also going to say that the guidance I've been giving schools is that if they're making multiple attempts, especially in the state of Florida or outside of Florida, to contact me, because many times just making that phone call to the administrator of the school or a teacher of that school or a school counselor, having that conversation versus faxing the request, the outcome is usually really, expeditionally we get those records right away. We haven't had a situation that I'm aware of recently whereby we haven't had records in a timely fashion. If it's a child that's been identified with disability, we certainly cannot delay services. As Mr. Delaney has indicated, we can do our own assessment to determine the level of support. But it requires us to be very diligent in our efforts and not wait 3 or 4 weeks later and I become known that we haven't received records and something happens for that kid.
Thank you, Dr. And it is an issue, and the issue is much, much bigger than what you can imagine. We have a 25% mobility rate in this district. That means 25% of our kids leave, and we got 25% come back in. So you figure out 2,500 kids, student records leaving or coming to us, and just that record keeping process is huge.
Okay.
One more thing I want to add, because we're on a state system, the majority of our districts are using the peers for students with IEPs and students with 504 plans. So most of the districts in the state of Florida use that free service that's supported by the Department of Ed. So we have access, it can be given access to us to pull those records and not wait for the paper trail or fax to come through. We would just log on. The Department of Ed would give us those privileges to do that, or the opportunity to do that. So, but we have some districts who are not, and then we have to wait for them to send them to us.
Would you have a question?
Not on that, but on religious expression. I'm just curious, it says the school board will treat a student also expression of the religious viewpoint. Otherwise permissible subject, same kind of thing. What does that mean, otherwise permissible subject? Where are you looking at? Right on the front page, religious expression, part of the letter A, student expression of religious viewpoint.
Mr. Chair? Yes, Mr. Gould.
All right, I think it's everything. If a student is assigned a writing assignment dealing with the Middle Ages, they can certainly include in that discussion of the influence of the church and the Reformation, the Catholic Church, and all of those types of issues. If they're assigned a personal essay and they want to talk about an influential person in their life who happens to be a religious figure, they're allowed to do that under this policy, but they were always allowed to do that under the First Amendment Policy Act.
I saw that, but in other words, permissible subject, broad the policies. It's just kind of a broad-based thing, just not a thing to religious expression.
If it's within the scope of the assignment that they're being given, then sure. Probably a more complicated example is if they're in an AP biology class and they are given an assignment explaining the chemical process for photosynthesis, and they want to write an essay on religious issues instead of giving the answer on what the chemical process of photosynthesis is. They're not, this policy does not mean that you have to give them an A for that kind of result.
All right, 6.18, approval of leaves. This is the one policy that we're bringing to you that did not come out of state statute changes. This one came out of some of our internal departments who were concerned that some of their employees were stockpiling vacation days and then taking them all at once, and particularly in the summertime when they needed those employees there to get work done, to get ready for the next school year. So that's where that one came from. And basically what we're asking there is that we get approval by the board for anything that's in excess of 40 consecutive vacation days within 160 continuous hours.
You meant to say 40 consecutive hours.
Consecutive hours, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. 10.06 procurement of school food and nutrition services. Again, this one was brought to us by changes. The changes are all in the back, where it talks about the duties of food service supervisor, code of conduct, and it goes through all of that. I think that if you read through that, as I have, the main reason for this is to try to outline and prevent what might be considered a conflict of interest and set the parameters. These are things that are allowed, these are things that are not allowed, and so there is no conflict of interest in regard to procurement for school and nutrition services. Ms. Oberst is here. Is that pretty much?
That is correct, and those are also direct words from the Florida Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
So do we need a motion to adopt to put out for public hearing?
Motion advertised.
Okay. Motion to advertise the following four policies: 3.06, 3.101, 5.04, 6.18, and 10.06.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we request for, I'm sorry.
Going back to the science class, because there's always some sensitivity about the creation of life. Let's say they're discussing the scientific view of creation of life, and some student goes into a more of a religious point of view on that. But they think that's how life was created, spiritually rather than biologically. So does this allow a student to have that kind of freedom to express that religious point of view?
I think the student's still going to be required to demonstrate the information that's on the curriculum mapping, that's on the knowledge that you've got to be able to demonstrate. If they want to have additional commentary about what their personal beliefs are, they're not going to get marked down for their personal beliefs, but students are still going to be required to demonstrate mastery of the content of the class.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. We've had a request to take a 5-minute recess. Restroom break.
Yeah, the letter just came yesterday.
We'll call the meeting back to order. We're on item H, approval of minutes of October 9th, 2018 board meeting. Are there any additional corrections to the minutes? If not, I entertain a motion. Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item I, consent agenda. We'll start on listening this time. Turner?
Okay, just have a question, why y'all stole the most recent teacher at Yankeetown School to be? No, just kidding, I'm more power to any of them that come in and do an impressive enough job that want to move into somewhere else they can be useful. That was the only question that I had, the rest of them were answered, thank you.
Ms. Rubin?
Mr. Rose answered most of mine, but I was just wondering, Amy Weber at Chiefland Elementary is going to guidance counselor. She does a great job as reading coach and all, but how many guidance counselors do we have there now?
You have 2 positions, but you only have 1 guidance counselor.
2 positions, so she's moving into that
She's
other.
moving to the other position.
Okay, all right, and then I think everything was answered. I just have one question. It says that Dr. Hall is going to Student Engagement Institute. Where? Because usually they're all listed. Dr. Hall might get to join them. Orlando. Oh, okay, all right, got it then. Thank you.
That's just his position.
I know that, but it didn't say where. She might need me there. That's all, thank you.
Only question that I had, so that was one over there, so, Mr. Boatwright, I know IT is a big thing, so we'll be advertising for that, it's already a good deal, so.
Don't ask me what he does, I can't explain.
I understand that, so, but I know how important that is to the district to keep us moving forward, so with that, so, and, Ms. Julia, you happy with number 9 there, so?
I am.
So, good deal, so, appreciate, so I'm sure Mr. Ansel will appreciate me asking you about the funds and all, so. And then Dr. Hall, congratulations, so good deal, so happy, always happy to see our staff presenting there, so. Dr. Hall, maybe you can talk a little bit about the Luma contract. Can you share anything about that?
Yes, so Luma Therapy is an online therapy for speech language pathologists, and our private school has been seeking a speech pathologist for almost 2 years. We have approximately 9, 10 students on McKay Scholarship who's in need of those services. So this is really a way to provide quality services, consistent services, and the time frame in which they're working from. And the funds come from their proportionate share, which is a requirement by federal guidelines that our private schools do receive a portion of our IDA funds.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Moving to item J, superintendent's comments and recommendations.
Just some, got quite a few things to talk about this morning. Number one is the school business. Of course, this is accreditation week for us, and Syracuse coming on a fair weekend. So we did not schedule a week there, but we also changed the beast to November 27th date. And we've canceled that meeting, and that's when we're scheduled with Johnson. So what I would like to do is to, if we want to have a morning meeting on November 13th. And so what I'd like to do is reorganize this stuff so we get all of our schools in meeting. That's so yes, sir. So that's what we talked about last meeting. And we ceremony at the PM on the 20th. And so we're trying to reorganize. I think we already got quite a few things on November 13th. One of the things that I put out there, of course, first off, just Mr. Keller alluded, very involved, and just like Jonathan talked about this morning, how generous the school district is, and just a big shout out and thank you to all those who participated in the Beast Feast, and Mr. Etheridge, especially for your facility, and just it was a wonderful time. A lot of food, a lot of people, a good time, and it was just a great event for Better Cause. And that, and also I know we had a good time this Saturday. I know when the CDP customers was food, and I think they went through 4,000 bottles of water that morning. So it was a great event. And I know hats off to Mr. Cowell, because I think he worked 3 booths. Is that correct, Mr. Cowell? Yes, sir. Then he showed up down to work at the Beast Feast. So he slept well Saturday night, I'm sure. Very much so.
But he was up early too.
One of the things that I put out there is we're working with effect to, lack of a better term, adopt a district. And so I've been in touch with a couple of them. We're trying to figure out what some of these school districts need. Some of them will need a lot more than what we can provide. But if there are some resources that we have, whether it's books, or whether it's desks, or whether it's some manpower, or some things like that, working with the county also, they're willing to help. And we'll see if we can adopt a school district and help out some of our things. Just by the grace of God that it's not us. So we're thankful, so we need to make sure that we try to help out and everything. So we're looking for some more information on that. Today, as you see, we have an accreditation visit, and I want to thank you all for your participation in that yesterday. Our folks are all out. They're in schools today. They're in every school, and they'll be in every classroom except for Morris Bullock, Chief Elementary, and Cedar Creek today. So the teams are going around. It's just when you have 5 people and they travel in pairs, with the exception of 1, you can't get to night school. So otherwise, the desire is to be in every school. But the teams much work behind the scenes that nobody has seen. But it's going well. We look forward to what they're going to bring forward to us. This is some information from Kim McDougal. We recently had our developed our legislative platform, and one of these items that's on here that we've talked about is requesting a task force to examine because when the law was made about accommodations till now, there's a lot of technology has changed, and so if I remember correctly, if I captured it correctly, one of the things you want to do is create a task force to review the statute, review the accommodations. So what she's done here, and this is for information today, is some language such that we would ask somebody to sponsor a bill requiring this. And secondly, she's looking, as you can see in the email, for us to go up either the week of January 7th or January 21st. Now, also, I do know that the small county coalitions, they're going to be in Tallahassee the first Tuesday in January. The first Tuesday in January, January 1st. So I doubt they're going to be there on January 1st. So I think they're going to be there on January 8th. So we'll talk about this and we'll make a decision. But we're going to be there with the small counties on the first week of January. I will kind of lean that way. I'll be looking for some direction from y'all at some point. Real soon.
This will come at the end of our, we have one more public hearing about where we finalize our platform.
I think I'm like that platform.
So that's good.
Yes, sir.
This will require action at some point.
Yes, sir. I'm going to bring this back to you because we're going to need to we're going to make a decision and whether or not this is the language you'd like to see, you'd like to have. It's up for your review right now. You can receive her email, and I'll bring this back as an action item for you. And certainly, Mr. Delaney can read it by you.
Mr. Superintendent, I appreciate Kim, Chris, Robert, their efforts. So obviously, anytime we can help our legislatures write this language, more beneficial it is for them. So I appreciate all that work.
And one thing that I need to get some input from you, we're going to be having some workshops here coming up. And I kind of need some direction on how you would like me to schedule those.
Workshops on what?
Well, first off, we want to have a workshop on the ESD process. That's going to be one. As soon as the accreditation gets over, we're going to start at some point, we'll start some workshops on strategic planning. And so it's going to be some process that we'll have to work through. I don't know how long it'll be. But, we certainly need to sit down and have some conversation about what that is. And it'll take some time if you want to write a good plan. So I prefer something either mid-morning or early afternoon. I'm just.
And workshops that involve the whole board?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, just like we do a budget workshop.
I think it's a great idea, I'm all for it.
So I'll be, so I kind of need some sort of direction from y'all to give you some thoughts on that as the case may be. Because the first one's going to be a workshop on ESD. I've already talked to Dr. Hall, we haven't scheduled anything, but do y'all have any preference when we do it? Is it after a morning board meeting or early on an afternoon board meeting, or this is total separate day whatsoever?
Well, in our early board meetings, aren't we rescheduling our school visits?
Yeah, we have school visits, so if it can't be there, but we can have them like, we can have a total separate day, but we don't have to have it on a day that we have a board meeting. So we can have it like our board meetings are on Tuesday morning, we have Thursday morning workshop. So that's possible, or we can have Thursday afternoon, or we can have it on an afternoon prior to an evening board meeting. So it just depends on how long the day is supposed to be. I do recommend putting some time limits to it and getting the work done, work on work.
So are you looking for like a December you're looking at, you want to start? November?
Well, I have got, the first one I have got to get with somebody's calendar back here that's quite elusive. And that's Dr. Hall's calendar.
But my calendar is really full, so we need to schedule as soon as
Yes.
possible.
So that's the first thing I have to do is get on her calendar. And once I get her calendar, I can start getting some to you. I don't anticipate much with the accreditation. We're gonna have to digest some of this stuff and work on that as a team and start, hopefully bring some ideas to you, some things to work with. So that probably after the first year, start on some work on strategic plan.
The first year, okay.
So, but there's going to be some ongoing work we need to do as a board.
That's great.
Okay.
Would your preference to be in December before the Christmas or winter holidays?
My calendar's pretty full too, so we just have to schedule, and whenever I'm supposed to be here, I'll be here.
Okay.
And the rest of us will just work around y'all's schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Ledford.
That's right, Brad. It's just a hunting season there.
We just have to work around the major feeding times.
We'll make it work.
Feed the dogs.
Feed the dogs.
Okay. And the last thing is an idea that I'm stealing from another school district. And, we just come off the Beast Feast and I know how generous you are, and Dave just gave y'all a bill. One school district, what they do is they go together as a superintendent board and they buy items. And they've set up a process where they have each member has deducted $50 a month and it goes into a checking account. And I think the secretary is the one that kind of is the keeper of that. And so we can set that up however you want to do that, if that's something you want to do. Where that really came into mind is that we've experienced some funerals here lately. And I really wish we'd sent some flowers as a board. And so that's some things that we can do. And that's a pot of money that we can take and we can address as a superintendent board. And whether it's a cake auction or whether it's some things, or whether you want to do more and buy fair animals out of that. And I know most of you are going to do stuff on your own too. So, thoughts?
I think it'd be a great idea, just make sure to get Mr. Turner's checking account number before he gets it.
There you go.
I'll have got my bill for the smoke bullet. Yeah, I fixed the handwriting.
More by written.
There you go.
I think it's a great idea.
The only one that doesn't have anything to bill, that's probably.
I think that's a great idea. And then do we set guidelines on how we determine or what we determine we do, or, is that something we work out too, or we just?
Well, you'll need to give us some direction, but, there's certain things to me I think we just need to act on, like, I would need to work with Katie Wade, like, whenever we have a staff member or a staff member's family or something that's, somebody's passed away, especially if it's a former staff member, so we can send flowers and, unfortunately, I don't think of a lot of these things, and there are people that are a lot better at this than I am. But any of the things that y'all do as a direction and stuff, we can do this, or we can have them build, and, if y'all want to bid on something, they can build us, or however, we can do anything that you want us to do. So in other words, if you're at a cake auction, you want to buy a cake, on behalf of the superintendent of the board, we can do that, they can just bill us. And we'll pay for it out of there.
I think it's a great idea, because I never know how much money to bring to a board meeting. I don't have any checks we call the last day.
Right, it is, it gets overwhelming, it really does, honestly, so that is a great idea that we can do. So do we need to, as a board now, vote on that instead of the amount that we need? No?
I just need to know directions. If that's something you'll do, I'll work with y'all to make it happen.
Okay.
I imagine it'll take a couple, 3 weeks to make this happen, right, Mr. Turner?
Most likely.
I just think so. This probably should be part of this conversation.
Oh, surprise her.
She's gonna get surprised with it.
But I'll flesh this out. I'll bring you some details, and you can direct me on how you would like that to happen. But I'll talk with our folks back here at this table, and finance and different things, and how this can happen, and we'll make it happen.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Superintendent?
No, sir.
All right. We're moving on to board comments. Mr. Coward.
All right. First off, Ms. Angela, thank you for all that you do for us, so getting us ready for our meetings. And I know last week I leaned on you to help me out with getting in touch with Mr. Breezy while I was out of pocket, so, and just, having a little bit of water here and some treats for us, so thank you for that. So I appreciate all your hard work. Breezy, thank you very much, so for all of your efforts and maintenance efforts. So I know we had you spread from one side of the county to the other, and getting tables and getting us set up, and involved in important maintenances and making things like the Beast Feast go and Seafood Festival, so appreciate that. Mr. Edison, thank you very much for coming down to the festival, Seafood Festival, and cooking for us. So for PTO and
That is one of the funnest things I do. I don't know if that's the right language, but I enjoy that. I enjoy the people, and
I agree, so.
it was hot and crowded, but then that was a great thing.
It was, so we had two great days, so I wish, so they would listen to me. I kept telling them to buy more, that I felt just in my gut that we were gonna have big crowds, because we were selling PTO sold out by about 1:15, 1:30 on Sunday, and they probably could have sold another 2 cases of shrimp if they'd had shrimp and burgers and whatnot, so. So it was a good weekend in Cedar Key.
I have the hairless knuckles to prove that I was there.
I hear you. So, Beast Feast, you know, it just always amazes me the giving hearts that we have in this community. So we are a team here, so appreciate Brad for providing the facility, so we have a wonderful place to have the event. So Paige brought the chowder, Mr. Turner cooked frog legs, so and brought the mullet dip. So Cameron came and supervised and stirred the pot a few times, so whenever I stepped off, so. So, and also appreciate Mr. Delaney being there, so. It was date night, so it was a good date night for him, so. But, going back, I think when we totaled up just kind of the initial, we're right at about $11,000 between what we took in that night, and that was just initial. We've still got some others coming in, so it was a very successful. I think when all told, our cake auction did another $4,000, and that project there for our cake auction goes to provide classroom libraries for our teachers that have less than 2 years experience. So it gives them about $75 to $100 worth of books that they can put in there to build up their own classroom library. And it's a nice project that we started last year, and appreciate that. So, and there's no way we could do it without our community partners, whether it's Drummond Bank, Capital City, Duke Energy, and Suncoast. Those 4 are big hitters that really help a lot with the foundation. And Sandy Whitehurst did an excellent job. So she stepped right up where Miss Donna led us to, and she's continuing taking on. So, and along that note, so Mr. Turner, I hope you know that we sure do appreciate all your hard work in this district, and Miss Donna, and just a little token of us being able to recognize the 2 of you, and for Mr. Terry and Ms. Cook that don't know, we are naming a scholarship. So after Mr. Turner and Ms. Donna, so it'll be the Rick Turner and Donna Turner School Foundation, one of our school foundation scholarships. So well deserved, and a lot of hard work, and helped out a lot of kids. And sure, thank you for that. And the last thing is, I did have the opportunity to go to the Panhandle last week. Our Rotary clubs, and I should have added them in our community partners because they do a lot for our schools. Went out there and had the Chiefland Club, the Williston Club, so I think Swanee Valley also, maybe Trenton's going to keep in some stuff too. But also through the Williston Women's Club, carried about 5 pallets of stuff out there to those folks. Made stops in Franklin County and Gulf County. We're blessed, and it's pretty rough to see some of the things out there. And just very, very thankful that things could have been much worse for our county, and we know that we've seen rough times, and we know that those people are resilient. We look forward to helping those people any way we can, Mr. Smith. Thank you for that. Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Rhodes.
That's good.
I know. I started a little wrong.
But Beast Feast was great, and everything everybody did, and the highlight was Rick and Donna, and being able to honor them, and all that they've done. And we'll always think of them every year at Beast Feast and continue, and I'm sure that Rick will want to come back and bring mullet, no doubt. But we certainly appreciate everything. Thank you.
Notwithstanding everything, and with Howard and Brookins, and thank you for those kind words. Not going to go in the direction of why y'all will most likely be proud to get rid of me. thanks to everybody, but I am just totally not impressed up to this point with the accreditation process, especially those school board member interviews were handled, especially mine. I think those people are looking for something that is not existent as far as school board members that are truly doing what they are expressly told to do in statute. I feel like that the lady that interviewed me, I don't remember her name, I don't remember where she was from, I don't remember what she was doing, but questions, and I have to help her along this. She said, these are the questions that advance and put in front of me to ask. They were ridiculous, they were peculiarish, and they were just far beyond the scope of what I feel a school board member should have been tuned into. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. I was going to hit on accreditation yesterday, and I guess some of the questions were difficult from a 30,000 foot view as a board member, but also, I guess, on the other side of that, I think looking at it critically, if we can look at things, there's opportunities for us to get better within the district. And it probably hit on some areas that, as board members, we're not supposed to micromanage at the school level. I get where you're going, Mr. Turner, but maybe at a 30,000 foot view, we can look at some opportunities to help the local level, grassroots, with where they're at. So,
I'll interrupt for just a moment, but I totally agree, Mr. Etheridge, with that. But I don't believe it's in the purview of the accreditation process to do that. We have our own FFPA things that go along with that. We even have, from what I have heard all the others express, we have our own internal process for making things go. And I apologize for interrupting you on here.
I wanted to get that out of the way, but on a positive note, I think 2 weekends in a row we've been able to watch. We always talk about the lack of funding, the lack of, and it doesn't. Our kids leave the county very seldom go without, and usually the community steps up and makes it happen. So if there's a void, it's always neat and interesting to watch. Every time that something's put together, we did a benefit dove shoot the weekend before for 2 families, and you just watch people pour out a community that say there's no resources in, and they just give and give and give, and then we come back the very next weekend and do the same thing. And my conclusion of it is we don't even really have to do a lot of hard work. We can show up and have a good time at Regular. I mean, it was, of course, I know I watched Thursday and Friday as Breezy and History. It's not, I know some people have to work. And that doesn't just happen. The planning, I watched Miss Donna for a couple of years do that. And Mr. Turner helped her set all that up. And then I watched Annie come into it Saturday. She goes, I've never even been to one before. And then I walked back in and it looked exactly like it did when Miss Donna did it the year before. So a lot of good help. Breezy, I appreciate you fixing my lighting package. We were like some electricity coming beforehand. So I just appreciate the community. I had an uncle down from Pensacola a few weeks ago talking about the school district in Escambia County, and he said he watches the school board meetings on TV, and he goes, what I'm hearing you say about your school board, the way you operate is not the way ours does. So I appreciate the camaraderie here and the willingness to work together and pull all this together to make. And what I told the accreditation team at the end of it yesterday is you may micro analyze what we're doing, but as a general overall, I like the direction and leadership that we have going on within our school district right now. I think it's going in a positive direction. Any comments?
No, we work hard. We work hard. I know you want to be involved. We want you to get involved. We want you to know what's going on. I don't want you to be surprised. And I'm looking forward to the planning process. I think I know your hearts and some of the things that we want to come out of this. I know those are good things. And so I'm looking forward to doing that and looking forward to achieving some of the goals that we set out. I think we're finally
very tough, very pragmatic.
Any other comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Can I ask you?
Yes, sir, Mr. Witt.
School safety, policy, what's about creating a school safety zone within 500 feet of the school, any school facility? There's a box 500 feet around every school facility, and if you're in it and they determine that you're loitering or you don't have a reason, the school principal can call law enforcement and have you removed. That's a pretty strong policy. I mean, I was out yesterday, I'll give you an example. I was out yesterday, I was waiting for the chief of the city commission to start. And I was hungry, so I bought a little nutrition bar and went over there next to the softball field in the park and eating. And there was a couple of girls practicing softball, I wasn't paying any attention to it. Pretty soon a patrol car comes up. I said, what are you doing? I'm eating a nutrition bar. And I said, I'm a reporter waiting for the city commission. Oh, he said he left. But I'm just wondering, and I understand with all these shootings that go on in schools and stuff, and anybody driving that US 19 would be in violation of this school policy because they're not supposed to be there.
They're ordering, they're driving by.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just
Well, here's the other thing, as you've probably seen on Facebook, there was a 21-year-old that the sheriff's office arrested for having sexual conversations with a 13-year-old in Phoenix Springs. So I think the idea is, as our mission statement says there, we want to educate in a safe environment. So I think to err on the more cautious side would be the reason. So I think in my mind, I realize it may be a little bit of hassle for somebody to pull up and say, hey, what are you doing? But that would be the better thing than us having, just for lunch for type situation. Would you agree with that, Mr. Chairman?
yeah, I was just wondering how far we're going to go with it.
Common sense, what's the thing?
Mr. Witt, if you were parked at the edge of school campus differently than normal, and we had an officer pull up to you and ask you what you're doing, I say it's mission accomplished. That means we're doing what our school safety plan should be. He didn't harass you, he just asked you, and you gave an explanation, and he went on. Then that makes me feel good that the things we're putting in place, Mr. Weber, and the sheriff's department, that modernization is correct.
This is driven by DOE and state statute, so I mean.
But bottom line is, if I pull up in your yard, you can't park. Would that make you nervous?
If you pull up in my area,
Yes, sir.
I think we're talking about apples and oranges there. This is a school facility.
But who's the school shooter?
This is a school facility.
As far as the deputy goes, who's the school shooter?
Yeah.
Are you, or she, or am I? Who are we to make that determination? Without stopping and asking you what you're doing, and creating a buffer zone for within side of that law enforcement in our district says this is the perimeter we're going to patrol, we're going to take care of.
Not to speak for this board, but I guarantee that we will err on the side of caution of making sure the safety of our students is number one. And then, that is our job. Because if I put my daughter in school, I want her to be safe, just like any other person, any adult puts their child that they're in charge of. So, and I think, that's the thing. We're not trying to harass anybody. We're not trying to do anything but use common sense and keep them safe and secure. So, and better to err on the side of caution and ask somebody what they're doing than to turn a blind eye and keep on going and then that person do something you want.
Is there going to change in the, for example, as a reporter, if I walk into a school office, and has there been a change in that policy? Because there used to be, in recent years, they would give me a sticker to wear around that I was a visitor. Has that changed, or is it?
Yeah, right now, when you come in, you're gonna go through a database and get checked.
You take your driver's license out, they run your driver's license.
Well, they used to do that at Bronson Elementary anyway.
We do that at every school.
Every school.
Not every school.
Yes, sir.
Needs to tighten up a little bit.
Yes, sir. And we operate in loco parente. These are my kids.
Right.
The principal there at that school, that's their personal kids, and that's how we treat them.
I need to get a copy of this visitors policy, though. It's cited in here, and it's right down here, and I'd like to see what that says.
It's very, it's on the website, you can print it off for you.
All right. Any other comments? Thank you. Should we vote? All in favor of adjournment, say aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned.